You're not afraid of creating content. You're afraid of what people will think. And while you wait for the courage to start, someone with less experience but more boldness is growing, connecting, and taking up the space that could be yours. In this video, I'm going to show you how to turn fear into creative fuel, even if your voice still shakes. And after this, staying silent won't be an option anymore. You're not afraid of the camera, you're afraid of judgment. This is a sentence that perfectly sums up what many of us feel when we think about creating content online. The idea of recording a video, writing a post, or even publishing a simple photo can seem scary. Not because of the act itself, but because of what comes after: judgment, other people's opinions, the dreaded negative comment. In this video, we're going to talk about how to overcome that fear that paralyzes so many people. We'll understand where it comes from, why it's not as rational as it seems, and what you can do today to finally start expressing yourself on social media with freedom and courage. Where does the fear come from? The fear of creating online content isn't new, but it's grown stronger in recent years with cancel culture, digital overexposure, and algorithms that seem to turn everything into a spectacle. The main root? Fear of judgment. Fear of social judgment. The fear of being criticized, ridiculed, or rejected, especially by people close to us, friends, family, coworkers. This kind of fear is rooted in our need for acceptance. From an evolutionary perspective, being excluded from the group could mean a threat to survival. Today, that same instinct shows up as discomfort with being different or weird on social media. Comments like, "Who do you think you are to talk about that?" or complete silence after a post can feel like rejection and lead to self-doubt. Often it's not the broad audience that intimidates us, but the idea of being judged by those who know us personally. Fear of exposure. Being online means putting yourself out there, showing your face, your voice, your ideas. And that makes us vulnerable. It's like giving up a shield that protects us from judgment and criticism. Exposure feels uncomfortable because it brings to light what we usually keep hidden: our doubts, our opinions, our dreams. Many people hesitate to post because it feels like each piece of content is a chance to be misunderstood or to fail in front of everyone. But it's in that very vulnerability that the potential for genuine connection with your audience lives. The influence of negative narratives. Documentaries like The Social Dilemma have created a distorted view of what it means to be online, painting social media as absolute villains. These narratives are built around risks and exaggerations, leading to the perception that all digital exposure is harmful. While these pieces raise important points, the problem arises when they cause panic and paralysis instead of encouraging critical reflection. The fear triggered by these stories can lead potential creators to hold back, believing the online space is automatically toxic or manipulative, when in reality, it can also be a place of empathy, learning, and positive impact. The truth is, no one escapes fear, but we can all learn to move through it. Why this fear is irrational. When we put this fear under the lens of logic, we realize it's much more emotional than rational. It's not that the fear of judgment isn't real, it absolutely is. But the impact we think it will have on our lives is often wildly exaggerated. People are too busy with their own lives. Here's the uncomfortable truth. No one is paying as much attention to you as you are. Everyone is dealing with their own dilemmas, pressures, routines, and insecurities. The audience isn't analyzing every flaw, every detail. Most of the time, what you think is embarrassing goes completely unnoticed or is quickly forgotten. Even if someone does catch a mistake, it's unlikely to have any real impact on their life, and it'll soon be replaced by another avalanche of content. Most of the criticism we imagine will never actually be said, and many of those judgments don't even exist. At the end of this video, we'll recommend another video where we dive deeper into this topic, so you can better understand how to come to terms with this perception and start doing what you truly want today. At the end of this video, we'll recommend another video where we dive deeper into this topic, so you can better understand how to come to terms with this perception and start doing what you truly want today. The algorithm doesn't judge, it amplifies. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube aren't interested in who you are. They care about what you deliver. If your content resonates with an audience, it gets boosted, regardless of whether you're a beginner, experienced, outgoing, or shy. The algorithm is like a megaphone. It simply amplifies what generates engagement without worrying about perfect aesthetics, flawless scripts, or prior fame. So the judgment we fear so much doesn't actually come from the platforms. It's mostly self-criticism disguised as caution. And that can be challenged with consistent action. Fear isn't data, it's projection. What proof do you have that you'll be rejected? What solid evidence shows you'll be ridiculed? In most cases, none. The fear we feel when we think about putting ourselves out there isn't based on real experiences, but on imagined possibilities created by our minds. They're projections built from uncomfortable memories, lingering shame, or past criticism. In an effort to protect us, the mind creates worst-case scenarios, but that ends up paralyzing us more than it protects. Understanding this pattern is key to breaking the cycle and taking action, even with your heart racing. If this content has resonated with you in any way so far, leave a like, so this message can reach others who need to hear it just like you did. If you have an experience to share, feel free to drop it in the comments or in our channel community. By sharing our journeys, we create a space of value and prosperity together. Thank you so much. You're already being judged, even in silence. By not creating, you're not avoiding judgment. It just takes a different shape. It might show up as subtle comments like, "Long time no see," "Did you stop doing that thing?" or "You haven't posted in a while." These remarks, often said without bad intentions, reveal that your absence is noticed too. Silence speaks, and it often communicates doubt, stagnation, or giving up. In a world where digital presence equals relevance, not showing up can raise more questions than putting yourself out there with authenticity, even if it's imperfect. Overcoming fear, then, is less about not feeling afraid and more about recognizing that fear is a terrible advisor. Fear doesn't vanish with time, but it becomes irrelevant once we realize it doesn't need to be in control of our actions. The courage to begin is born the moment we understand we've been avoiding something that, in reality, is much smaller than it appears in our minds. And by facing it, we're not just creating content. We're building self-confidence, presence, and freedom of expression. Every step forward, even with fear, is a win over that inner voice trying to hold us back. This mindset is echoed in books like The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown, which shows how vulnerability is essential for creativity and connection. Backed by her research, Brené explains that the willingness to show up, even with emotional risk, is what makes us human, relatable, and creative. By embracing our imperfections and allowing ourselves to be truly seen, we connect with others on a much deeper level. Something that's absolutely vital when it comes to authentic online presence and content creation. The cost of not posting. Staying silent on social media out of fear might feel like the safer choice, but in reality, it comes with a high and often invisible price. While hesitation may keep you protected, it also prevents your message, your voice, and your value from reaching the people who need to hear them. You lose relevance. In the digital world, frequency and presence are key to staying visible. When you stop posting, your name stops circulating, your ideas stop being discussed, and your image begins to fade from the public's memory. Online attention is short-lived and highly competitive. If you don't show up consistently, someone else will take your place. This applies to creators, brands, and professionals alike. Being absent means letting your authority and impact quietly dissolve over time. Opportunities don't recognize silence. Clients, partners, and followers can only connect with what's visible. When you stop showing what you do, you're not just avoiding exposure. You're missing out on building bridges. Digital absence prevents people from seeing your value, even if you have plenty to offer. Often the best connections come from simple, honest content shared without big expectations. Digital silence, on the other hand, acts like an invisible wall, separating you from the opportunities that could change the course of your project or your career. Inaction turns into stagnation. Creating content is also a form of continuous learning. Every post is a chance to test ideas, tweak strategies, and better understand your audience. Creative inertia blocks growth, not just technically, but emotionally and strategically too. When you avoid mistakes, you also avoid progress. Those who publish are in motion. Even if they stumble, they're still one step ahead. But those who wait for the perfect moment end up stuck. And in that scenario, being left behind isn't some distant possibility. It's an almost inevitable consequence. You disconnect from your own mission. Not posting doesn't just protect you from criticism, it also shields you from connection, both with others and with yourself. Creating and sharing are ways to reaffirm day by day why you do what you do. When you stop expressing what you believe in, you don't just lose an audience, you lose clarity of purpose. Little by little, your excitement fades, your motivation weakens, and the doubt creeps in. Does this still make sense? Sharing is an act of alignment between action and purpose. And when that link breaks, the creative or entrepreneurial journey can start to feel empty and discouraging. Not posting is betting on invisibility. And invisibility doesn't create impact, doesn't build community, and doesn't change lives. It's like locking your contribution away in a vault, far from the people who could benefit from it. Posting is an act of presence, of courage, of openness to the world. The cost of not doing it is living below your potential. So if you're going to be afraid, let it be the fear of not trying. To keep the video concise, we've split it into two parts. By clicking on the video to the right, you'll dive deeper into the transformation that truly changes the game, the mindset shift. And on the left, the video I mentioned earlier, where we talk about one of the biggest mental breakthroughs for any entrepreneur.